In the years that I've been around tractors, there are 5 mistakes that I often see that new tractor owners make. And it's simply just because they don't know. Oftentimes, they buy a tractor that didn't come with an operator's manual, an owner's manual. And sometimes it's just the sheer thing of not even reading the owner's manual, because everything is there that'll get you situated in your tractor. Now, I always suggest read your tractor owner manual. It'll tell you everything that you need to know. But the first one we're going to cover here is the rear PTO shaft, or the drive shaft. You're going to end up a lot of times having to cut a drive shaft or a PTO shaft when you have a brand new implement, and you're going to end up having to cut it to fit. One of the things that you want to make sure is that the PTO drive shaft has at least 6 inches overlap. We're going to go look at a PTO shaft right now, and I'll show you exactly what we're talking about. This is the rear PTO drive shaft. I've taken off the safety covers off of it so that you could see exactly what I'm talking about. Anytime that you made up a brand new PTO shaft, you want to make sure that you have a minimum of 6 inches of overlap right here. And that's pretty much the industry standard. You can see I've got a 6-inch mark right here. So that means that when this half is slid into this half, that we have 6 inches of overlap. And what that does is that prevents, as the implement is being raised and lowered, it compresses and elongates. It's not going to come apart on you. The 6 inches gives you plenty there. You're not going to end up with wobble in, because of too short of a section right here. So make sure you have that 6 inches. Always check that. Make sure that it has 6 inches. A lot of times, if you go pick up especially a used implement you want to use on your tractor, and that PTO shaft may have been cut for another manufacturer's tractor. They're not going to all be the same distance from the output shaft on your tractor to the shaft on the implement that this PTO shaft is hooked to. So always make sure that you have 6-inch overlap. What that also does is you want to make sure that when you go to hook this up on the back of your tractor, that you have at least a couple of inches. And this is the end right here that goes onto our spline shaft, on our output shaft right here of the tractor. Make sure you have at least 1 inch to 2 inches here. It can even be more. As long as this 6-inch minimum is met, you could have 10 inches of space in here, and that wouldn't make a bit of difference. Just make sure that you have the 6-inch minimum right here of contact between the two shafts themselves. Enough overlap that you're not going to have that shaft come apart. That's number one. That's the first mistake. So as long as you take care of that, you're going to be in real good shape. The second biggest mistake is you have to grease your tractor. Most tractors are the same. Most of them have at least 6 grease points on each side of the loader. So the loader itself, just the loader, you're going to have about 12 grease points. When you're greasing your tractor, the main thing that you want to do, make sure that you're pushing out all the old grease. Even if you've got a brand new tractor, I would suggest going ahead and greasing every single Zerk fitting that's on this tractor, because you don't know if maybe they accidentally forgot to grease one, or they didn't put enough grease in it. So cover yourself. Go at it as if you think they didn't grease it at all. Grease it. You want to go ahead and start pumping the grease into it until you start seeing grease come out. And that's good on that one. And if you look right in here, you're going to see we're going to end up with grease coming out. And there we go. Our grease started coming out. What you're doing when you grease it this way, by pushing the old grease out, you're getting any contaminants, anything that can go inside there and mess up these pins. You're pushing all that debris out. And I suggest doing this often. This is something that you can't do enough of. One thing that can cost you a ton of money is if your hydraulic fluid level is not up to where it should be. Now, I know a lot of people think they buy a brand new tractor and that everything's going to come fully functioning. You can jump on it and drive off. It's good insurance to go and check your hydraulic fluid. Make sure that the tractor is warm. That's going to be when you want to check it. Don't check it cold, because you want that fluid to be warm or hot so that it's expanded. And we're going to simply come down. The dipstick, depending on your manufacturer, can be in different places. On the back of this John Deere, it's right here on the left side, just above the axle itself. And it can be just about anywhere. So you're going to want to look at your tractor owner's manual to find out where that dipstick is. And all we're going to do is we're going to pull that dipstick, clean it off. We're going to slide it back in. We're going to pull it back out. And we're going to make sure that we're somewhere in that thatched line, and we are pretty good. We're about right here. So we're right where it needs to be. We're good to go with this. We don't have to worry about it. When we check our oil, all we're going to do is we're going to pull it out and clean it. Once it's clean, we're going to put it back in. We'll pull it out, take a look at it. We're within specs on this, so we're going to go ahead and put it back in. Always check your engine oil, though. That is a big one. Even if you think it's brand new and it's from the dealer and you think that they checked it, double check it. A lot of times dealers accidentally make mistakes. So keep that in mind. Check your oil, especially if you're getting a used tractor. Go back over it. Make sure that it has the proper amount of oil in it. If the oil looks bad, go ahead and change it. But that's a big mistake right there that a lot of tractor owners miss, it'll go a long ways towards the longevity of your tractor. Last of all, we're going to check the lug nuts or the lug bolts, whichever you may have. And you're going to want to have a good quality torque wrench. You're going to check with the manufacturer's specifications on what you should be torqued down to. And then you're going to want to torque to that. Once it's torqued down, one of the last things that I can say is you're going to take an ink pen and mark it. This way, when you walk around, you can see if anything's moved. And there we have a white line. We can tell just by looking at this that this has turned any, knowing that it loosened up on us. And we can tell that just at a glance. So that's a real good way and a safe way to make sure that our lug nuts or our lug bolts stay tight. If these come loose, and most manufacturers will tell you, and even in your owner's manual, it's going to tell you that you need to check this from time to time, every so many hours. And you do need to check these, because if it does come loose, it's going to be on you, sadly. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and I hope you'll come back soon. We're going to have a whole lot more. One of the next big videos we're going to have is on cutting down the PTO drive shaft. And we've got a little bit different way that we do it, that we've done over the last 45 or so years. And it's a real simple, easy way to cut. It's almost a foolproof way to cut a PTO shaft to size, and that's coming up. So you're going to want to hit the subscribe button and come back and visit us. Thank you for watching, and remember, buckle up and ROPS up. The life it saved may be yours. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.